Hey guys, this is my video presentation for the organism scavenger hunt that we have. One thing I just want to get out the way. I really like this course. It was probably one of my most favorites. Helped me actually learn a lot about plants and different types of animals and fungi. Nonetheless, so I just wanted to get that out the way and just let you guys know. But yeah, the organism I have here is known as. Well, first off, if you've been in Florida for a long time, you've seen this, organism here so many times. It's legitimately ridiculous. This here is known as Spanish moss. It's a really lifeless looking type of moss that hangs on trees. But for me to be able to find this organism, or part of the first question, I actually was going around my neighborhood on my bike, just looking around. I was actually kind of looking out for a gymnosperm cone tree, or just anything with cones in it. But this just so happened to pop up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. This is literally a Florida, like a known thing in Florida. So I was like, I stopped my bike. I was like, oh, bet, let me get this. I took a picture of it and decided to do it for the video presentation. So yeah, that's how I found it. As I said before, how it's classified. It is known as Spanish moss. It is a bryophyte, also known as moss, as it in its name. And it is part of the plants group. Um, Literally, it's just that simple. Um, yeah. Fun fact: when I was a kid, because I would see it all the time. Literally, the place I grew up in was known as Moss Park. And now that after once taking this course, and when it told me, when this popped up in the bryophyte section, um, and it showed this, I'm like, this is a moss, and it's sure enough, it was. So I was like, oh, so that's why the place I grew up in was known as Moss Park, because this organism here was literally everywhere, especially in a park of the actual moss park. It's just literally Spanish moss, Spanish moss, Spanish moss. It's insane. So yeah, that's how it's classified. The natural habitat, as you can see here, I found it on a tree, and that's literally its natural habitat. You will never find it anywhere else except the ground, because it's a really lifeless, hanging. It literally hangs out. It'll either be on a tree or on the ground. Really lifeless looking type of moss. I actually thought they were leaves when I was younger, but nope. It's moss. Um, what adaptations does your organism possess that allow it to be successful in its natural habitat? So I researched it. Spanish moss tends to spread to new locations through various types of methods. The seeds are structured so they're easily caught in the wind and land in the bark of new trees. So portions of Spanish moss grow and are carried out by wind or birds to a new tree. And then once they're there, they will continue to propagate vegetatively. So that's one of the cool things about it, which I never knew, which makes a lot of sense because it's like it's an insanely weird type of moss, you have to admit. And then leading to the final question, what does the life cycle look like? What does the sporophyte cycle look like? What does the gametophyte cycle look like? And this one was hard because you always see it in this state. You never really see it, or if anything, you just wouldn't notice because it's definitely going through that state of its its gametophyte state or its sporophyte state. So here I had to look up the life cycle of the typical moss, and it kind of has a Spanish moss here. Turns out they're actually, before they're in this white, I keep saying lifeless because that's just really how it is. Like it's like the color's drained. It's actually in a really green state or color. So it'll start out here really low, and then you start to see, it growing up. The canal starts growing up, and it starts getting new types of parts, and then sure enough, it'll mature into its gametophyte stage, with it being female and male, which is pretty cool. Um, I didn't know that, and then sure enough, they get long, like this. See here, looking like legitimate hair falling off the tree. So that's usually what its life cycle looks like. And then adding on to it, going back to the fourth question, it'll then just in order to prosper, it'll just or spread itself. It'll go from one tree to another, from a bird or from wind, and then just germinate from there. So yeah, that's Spanish moss by itself. yeah. So thank you.